Hey everybody, Motorpoet 59 here. Bill Gates. Everybody knows who Bill Gates is. Even tribes in the darkest of Africa who cook each other over scalding pots probably know who Bill Gates is. Owner of Microsoft, developer of Windows, inventor of the mouse. I think he stole that from Steve Jobs, but I digress. One of the wealthiest men in the world, philanthropist, medical doctor. Hold on a second. He's not a doctor? Wow. Well, he sure makes it sound like he is with the way he talks about public health through extended shutdowns and stay-in-place orders and lectures us about vaccines. No, he's not a doctor. He did go to college. He went to Harvard for a couple of years, but he didn't study medicine. He quit. He's been invited back a couple of times for lectures and question and answer forums, but none of those have been on medicine. No, his only interest in this is the vaccine, and that is because he is invested in big pharma. The same big pharma that all the people who throw themselves at his feet, all the liberals who think he's some kind of god, and they're all listening to him now, are the same people who hated big pharma a few months ago. But all of a sudden now they're going to listen to this guy about vaccines. Hey, I'm not one of those anti-vaccine people. I believe that vaccines have their place, but he wants this lockdown to stay in effect until there's a vaccine. We may never get a vaccine for this. AIDS has been around forever. We don't have a vaccine for it. We don't really have vaccines for all the different flu bugs that go around. We have a vaccine every year for a different flu bug, but once that mutates, you can catch that flu. Hey, I've had the flu 3 times in my life. Once when I was 19, once when I was 34, and once in 2015 when I was 56. But I'm not against getting a flu shot. I just don't think I need it. As I get older, I'm 60 now. I don't know, maybe I'll start getting them. But as far as a vaccine for this flu, that isn't going to happen for a long time, if ever. So why is anyone listening to Bill Gates? I mean, he's a computer guy. He's not a doctor. I mean, hell, I probably know as much about the COVID-19 as he does with all the things that are in the news. I have access to pretty much the same information he does. But I don't know. It's just another example of this celebrity influence generation that seem to be ready to follow Leonardo DiCaprio, George Clooney, and Joaquin Phoenix down some road they know nothing about, rather than listening to people who are experts in the medical field or whatever field happens to be being discussed at the time, or about politics and what is best for the United States of America long term. Okay, what about Anthony Fauci? Dr. Anthony Fauci, or Tony Fauci as he likes to be called, because he wants us to think he's just one of the guys, which he's not. A few months ago, most of the people in America, 99% of the people in the United States, had never even heard of this guy. And all of a sudden, he is the brightest, smartest, most experienced doctor in America. And why should we be listening to him? I don't know anything about this guy other than what he's told us. I don't even forget that he hasn't practiced in 20 years, and forget that there are a boatload of doctors out there with just as much as experience as he has, still practicing and still doing research, who disagree with him. And they're basing what they have to say on current findings, on the things that they're seeing, the people that are coming through their office and have been coming through their office for the last few months. They're basing it on real numbers, not projections or predictions. And hey, the guy's been wrong 3 times already. And we're listening to him now. Hey, I get it. In the beginning, no one really knew. But why didn't he just say that? because he wants to sound smart. And the government thinks, oh boy, we have to do something, even if it's wrong. How about just saying, you know what, we don't know right now, give us a little time. When I was a foreman at the railroad, I realized that isn't going to make people sick or not. But when the younger guys and the newer guys started coming up and working around me, if they asked me a question and I didn't know the answer, I didn't bullshit them. I didn't tell them something that wasn't going to work out down the road. I told them I didn't know. But hey, you know what? Let's stop right now and let's find that out. Or, let's do something else right now, and then tomorrow I'll look for some answers and we'll get this figured out. They didn't do that. He's the guy that told us in the beginning that we didn't need masks. Not only that we didn't need them, but that they might make things worse. Now we're supposed to listen to him? Why? Why should we listen to him at all? And even now that he's been wrong. I'll tell you why. Because the government, through the media, has told us we should. No one has said, hey, go do some research on this guy and see what you think. They've said, this is the guy. And the same people who are willing to follow Bill Gates down the garden path seem to be willing to follow this guy down the garden path. And those are the same people who didn't like Big Pharma, and a few months ago they didn't trust the government. But now they want us to trust him. They didn't trust the government for anything. Now they want us to trust them with our lives. They want us to trust them with the economy of the United States, and in my case, in California. And I'm not talking just about liberals. I know quite a few staunch conservatives who are just as willing to walk down this path behind the government, the media, Bill Gates, and Anthony Fauci without doing anything. And back to those doctors who disagree with him, they're being shut down. They come out and they say, this is what we are seeing in our office. This is what we know from experience over the last 20 years, the 20 years that Fauci hasn't been practicing. They're saying this is what we should do and this is what we shouldn't do. And unless those doctors are towing the line and standing up like good little soldiers, they're being shut down. They're being taken off social media. They're being taken off YouTube. They're being taken off of Facebook and any other. Those are the only two social media platforms that I really have anything to do with. But they're being taken down off of them simply for a dissenting medical opinion. What's next? Gonna throw them in jail? Gonna build some gulags? Gonna send them to re-education camps so they learn how to toe the line and come out loving Big Brother? Sound familiar? Probably doesn't to anybody born before 1985, because they don't remember that this was common practice in all the communist countries in the world. You did not get to disagree. You did not get to go against what the government said. If you did, you were put in jail or shot. And these doctors who are disagreeing with this guy, they don't seem to have an agenda. They're not running for office. They just want the people to be aware that they're being misled, and they want the economy to survive. They understand the importance of that. And there's so many people out there who are willing to allow tens of millions. We have, what is it, around 30 million people now in the United States unemployed. 10% of our population is now unemployed because of this. That's not the people who were unemployed prior to that. This is because of this. This is because of the COVID-19, the shutdown, the lockdown. People are going to die. I've said it before. This is going to run its course, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. But according to Bill Gates, we can continue to hide from it, and it'll magically disappear at some point if you listen to Fauci, and it'll magically be cured if you listen to Bill Gates. Now you know how I feel about it. You probably already knew, but now you know for sure. All right. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm all wet. Like, share, and subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content. We'll see y'all later.